what was what. Um, so just maintaining a general ledger is hugely important for most small businesses, and they don't do it well. Um, they don't manage their cash flow very well. So accounts receivable and accounts payable, they could be more strategic about their the time frame for the deadlines on their accounts payable, and they could be more aggressive with collecting money on their accounts receivable. They just don't think about that stuff. And then, Nick and I just got done doing a presentation for um, members and friends of the Kern County Black Chamber of Commerce on the importance of financial statements, general ledger, like transparent accounting information for tax filings and for being eligible for loans, grants during the pandemic and everything. Um, the other thing a lot of small business owners have trouble with is they can't actually create either their historical or their pro forma um, financial statements. And without that, they're not going to get any investment. They're not going to get any loan funding. They're going to be stuck with whatever money they have in their own pockets. So you accountants are also incredibly important for helping small businesses access more capital. So without rambling anymore, Sammy, Philip, D, is that a good intro, or should I talk more?
I'm good. You can continue if you want. I mean, for another few minutes if you like. Anything you would like to add, go ahead.
I guess the biggest other thing I'd like to add is just um, how much fun and how essential I think entrepreneurship is in general. So if I move away from the overlap with accounting a bit and just talk about entrepreneurship, since that's my part of the deal here, and then Dee's part of the deal is talking a little bit more about the accounting side. Let me just say that I don't know if a lot of you know this, but 75% of the new jobs created in our economy each year are created by small businesses with 500 employees or less. If you look at the numbers of companies in Kern County, there are about 20,000 businesses in Kern County with 10 employees or less. Compared to that, there's about 4,000 with between 10 and 100 employees. There's a couple hundred with between 100 and 500, and there are exactly 44 businesses in Kern County, or organizations. One of them is the school district. Another one is Cal State Bakersfield, that have more than 500 employees. So if you do the percentages on that, 99% of all of the businesses in Kern County are small businesses. And it's like that all across the country and all across the world. So for those of you accountants who hadn't really thought about the magnitude of the small business population, you could apply. If you're all looking for jobs, I always like to say this to my entrepreneurship students: you could apply for 99 small business jobs for every one large corporate job you apply for. The raw number of opportunities to get a job with a small business are so much larger than with a big business. So, it's very exciting working for a large corporation too, but the raw number of job opportunities for you all out there in the future is predominantly with small businesses. And the more you understand how to work with entrepreneurs and the problems and challenges that they face, the more valuable you're going to be for that 99% of the employer population. So that's my other message. I could go on and on about fun projects I've been working on lately. There's a lot of really cool aerospace stuff that we're doing right now entrepreneurially, especially with tech transfer, trying to help the Air Force, the Navy, and various contractors out in East Kern to license patents that they've created to non-aerospace companies. So there's a couple of manufacturers in the Midwest that I'm talking with right now about licensing a material from the Air Force that originally was developed to line the nozzles of rocket engines. So it's very high heat. It has extremely high heat tolerance, but it also at low temperatures is extremely inert, which for those of you who are not like engineers and chemists out there, inert means that it doesn't interact with any other substances. You can put all kinds of chemicals next to it and it won't degrade, it won't like decay. And there's a couple of applications for this that would be much better than stainless steel and ceramic and some of the materials that these manufacturers are using now. Has nothing to do with aerospace. One of them is actually a manufacturer of industrial machines that apply adhesives. So without giving away which company it is, they apply the glue to diapers for a major diaper manufacturer. And the glue in the waist, there's adhesive in the waistband that helps the diaper stick together. And they have a machine 2,000 times a minute it applies this glue. The reason glue works and sticks to things is because it causes a chemical reaction with whatever surface it comes in contact with. That's why it sticks. Well, that's good when you want it to stick to something. It's bad when you have a piston going through that the 2,000 times a minute, because the stainless steel pistons degrade eventually with the interaction with those chemicals. They have to replace them every 3 months. Cost $2,000 a piece to replace these pistons. If you made them out of this carbon material from the Air Force, they might only have to be replaced every year. So there's a significant cost savings there. And that's just one of lots of examples of fun stuff that we're doing right now entrepreneurially. So just a little taste of other stuff. And anybody on this meeting, after we go through everything, if you want to hear about more the work that we're working on right now, if you want to talk about any entrepreneurial idea you have, if you're interested in finding a particular job with a small business, just let me know. I'd love to answer any more questions.
Awesome. Thank you, Dr. Woods. And I'm going to take over the second session. So I'm a traditional presenter, so I'm going to use the slides. So compared to Dr. Woods' presentation, mine could be a little bit technical and boring. So just bear with me, and we will see. So let me share my slides with you. I only have actually a few slides to cover, and we should be fine. And I just want to, say a few words. Once again, thank you everybody for participating in this event today. And it's a great pleasure and an honor to collaborate with Dr. Woods in this activity. And also I want to thank all the student officers from both organizations who help make this event possible. And for people who don't know me, my name is Di Wu, accounting faculty at CSU Bakersfield. And today, I just want to share with everybody what are the important issues to small business owners or entrepreneurs from an accountant perspective. And in the next few months, our student officers from both organizations will, develop or will organize a few events to address all these technical issues. So please stay tuned, and we're going to actually invite you guys back to future events. And in the meantime, today after our presentations, if you think there are some additional areas that we should cover, please let us know. We are happy to include them in our future activities and events. So that said, I'm not going to get into details. There's no way I can cover all the accounting concepts in small business management in several slides. I just scratch the surface and give you a bird's eye view at a high level. Before I continue, I would like to do a first polling question. So just for fun, and I'm interested in learning, your background. Sorry, not this one. I apologize. Should be the first polling question. Okay, go ahead. I'll give you 30 seconds, and please tell us your current status. Check all that apply. It's multiple choice, so okay, so I can see some interesting results. Maybe I will give you another 10 to 15 seconds, just in case some people are away from their cell phone or computer. Okay, so I'm going to end polling in 1 or 2 seconds. All right. Okay, so can everybody see the results? Cool. So probably you can see, well, we have many students from business programs. We also have students from other areas. We also have entrepreneurs. We have accountant and finance professionals. It's a really interesting, diverse group, and great. So I think I'm ready to continue my presentation. Okay, so I will have a second polling question when I finish my presentation today. All right. So what I want to actually do a little bit about first is actually a little bit about small business. I mean, Dr. Wu is an expert in this field. I don't want to say very much. I don't want to repeat what he just said. But feel free to take a look at the data, about how important the small business to the U.S. economy, right? In terms of how many people actually the small business in this country employ, and etc. So there are different theories about the stages of small business, but typically we are looking at existence, survival, several of them. I would say in all stages, accounting is always essential to small business management. And typically in the beginning, people often have a business idea. Sometimes it could be a hobby, right? You cook very well. You like to repair, cars, solving the mechanical problems, whatever. Or you see a business opportunity, you buy and sell, right? And things like that. And also you have some confidence that you're going to achieve something very unique and optimistic. You have a passion, and you have some, resources. You believe you can, start with something. So anyway, whatever situation you are in, so somehow when you feel ready, then the first issue most entrepreneurs run into is basically business structure. Okay, I don't know if you're familiar with all these different business structures, and I'm not going to read all of them, but you can think about from a single partner and just by self, single owner, or it could be the partnership, and could be LLC and corporation, etc. This is an incomplete list. I know I missed the S Corp, B Corp. They're out of the different structures, but I'm not getting into details. Just want to tell you that those business structures are different in many ways. The first one is definitely ownership, right? You can have just by yourself, right, as a sole owner, or you could have several people as partners. Okay, and you can also have even more than that. The next issue is liability. I don't know if you're aware of that, but it can be really important. So in some of these cases, okay, so let's say that you're looking at a partnership. Then your personal assets, like your vehicle, house, and a saving account, will be at a risk in case your business faces bankruptcy or lawsuits. But under LLC and the corporation structure, your business assets and liabilities are separate from your personal assets and liabilities. In other words, you're kind of relatively safe if your business actually faces bankruptcy or or facing lawsuits, etc. And the tax implications, very important issue to all small business. You may have heard of a pass-through entity, right? So pass-through entity means that the business itself pays no taxes. Instead, taxes are passed through to business owners who pay them in their personal returns. Okay, LLC really depends if you go with S Corp or C Corp structure. Definitely C corporations are not a pass-through entities. They are subject to corporate income tax. Business owners still pay personal income tax on profits. We sometimes call that double taxation. Okay, you may have heard of that. And the next is filing requirements. Filing requirements. Okay, if you say, let's say that you are the sole proprietorship or partnership, you don't need to file any paperwork with the state. However, if you want to offer your service and a name that is different from your own, then you might need to file for a fictitious business name. And to form LLC, you must file paperwork with the state and pay a filing fee, etc. It's fairly simple compared to forming a corporation. So here I just touch a little bit, and I hope you get some general and basic ideas that how many different options you can go with when you start your own business. And there are some kind of a pros and cons, whatever. So, but I would say, partnership, could it be something, you can test out your business idea. You and your family members can start a, simple business. You and your friends can start some simple business, just try out before you want to form a C corp, okay, which is more complex. So, so the next thing I really want to talk about is basically small business accounting. Once again, small business accounting is really broad name. Here, I focus on more financial accounting part. So once a small business moves forward, okay, business transactions and records are generated in all kinds of business activities, right? You can imagine that. And also don't forget that you deal with a lot of stakeholders in your business operations, right? You deal with the governments, you have clients, you deal with the suppliers, and also you look at the community, you hire people, and also you may get investors, right? And you maybe borrow money from banks, whatever. So whatever you do, you come up with a lot of records. So I don't want to define accounting, but I have to tell you, you may know that the process of recording financial transactions pertaining to a business is called accounting, right? So the most, in my viewpoint, the most, or maybe from you perspective as well, the most essential accounting information most small business owners care about is basically revenues, costs, and essentially profits, because that's basically all these numbers easy to look at and easy to figure out their financial status. Literally, anything you do in your business will move these equations in either a positive or negative direction, okay? And most importantly, all these accounting records are extremely valuable, intangible assets. If you know how to use them, if you get them right, it actually will help your business very well. So a common problem that I often see in small business, number one, Dr. Wu's covered already, people don't know how to bookkeep financial transactions or activities properly. And you probably have heard of a garbage in and a garbage out, right? So if all your records, like sales, expenses, get messed up, using these records is just a waste of time or leads to very bad decisions, okay? So you might want to make sure somehow you bookkeep your records, transactions properly, correctly. Second thing is people don't know how to use available accounting records to perform other tasks, such as cost analysis, budgeting planning, and some decision making, okay? So therefore, as entrepreneurs, having some knowledge in small business accounting can be so important, even you outsource accounting tasks or hire an in-house accountant. So I would say, regardless of your status, try to make up some accounting knowledge, just some basic levels, and that should be actually very useful. So next, actually, I would say it's probably Dr. Wu's area, and also, but I still see there is huge overlap. So from a content perspective, I would say many small business management activities are managerial accounting issues, in my viewpoint, okay? And many small business owners struggle with cost management. I know that. My conversation with them actually could be very frustrating because I realize some of them cannot figure out service costs or product costs accurately. No idea of how to calculate overhead cost. And therefore the pricing, profitability analysis, and the strategic decisions are not reliable or not optimal. Very often, they have no idea how to price even their service projects or products correctly. Another issue is the capital investment. For example, should you upgrade your kitchen? Should you buy refurbished equipment? Should you buy energy, efficient equipment with the tax credits? Should you lease, rent instead of own equipment or buildings? Etc. All these questions are capital investment issues, and managerial accounting actually, techniques, tools can be helpful for you to, come up with whatever resolutions. So all these questions are very essential to small business, Okay, and another thing I often see is the small business owners often struggle with the inventory and the supplier management. So what is the optimal healthy inventory level? Not too high, not too low, right? We all know that, but what is the optimal level? So this year, last year and this year, actually, it was kind of interesting because both global and local supply chain management are disrupted by COVID-19. We all know that. So many businesses actually are thinking of having closer, more local and reliable suppliers. Maybe this is something you want to look into in the future. It could be also a good opportunity for you because a lot of large enterprises are looking for, small business in the community who can provide very stable, products, right, services to them, and also internal control. Okay, so we all know that many small businesses deal with loss of cash. We all know that, right? However, you may also know that cash is the most liquid asset. If we do not deal with the cash properly, we are putting our assets at huge risk. Fraud and embezzlement can happen when internal control is very weak. So all these issues can be, very important to the success of your operations. So the next thing I want to talk about is probably something you care about the most, right? You're dealing with the government, small business taxation. So I want to say that 70% of a small business outsource tax filings. It's a big number, 70%. Okay, so you can imagine the complexity of taxation in this country. Okay, a lot of small business owners just cannot do the tax filings, or they don't have the confidence to do that. So there are so many issues, okay, affect your taxation. Okay, your business structure, as I mentioned earlier, right? If your business is a pass through or not pass through, then you will end up with a different taxation situations. And financing, right? And if you do the debt financing, okay, we know that a debt financing, like loans, whatever, generates interest expenses, which are tax deductible. But equity financing, and generates typically dividend expenses or profit sharing, and those may trigger double or triple taxation. Okay, we all know that. And the next issue, the small business owners can choose a cash or accrual accounting. You may have heard of that as well, accrual and cash, right? So there definitely is a big difference between these two different accounting principles, right? And it really lies in the timing of when sales and the purchases are recorded in your accounts. So I'm not going to get into details, but I just tell you there are some differences. And the inventoriable cost versus expenses may also affect your taxation, and just be careful with that. Some costs, they can be part of your inventory in assets, which you can park those costs temporarily in your asset account. However, there are some costs you must expense in this year. If you hide whatever, you may break the law. Okay, you could end up with serious trouble. Okay, so be careful with that. Don't be too creative, and also try to think about also how to work around that. So some people are not aware of tax credits, and maybe you want to think about in your renovations, in the replacements, governments sometimes offer tax credits if you consider, as I said earlier, energy efficient or environmentally friendly products or materials, etc. So all these issues are important, and we all have tax obligations, but what we want to do is how to become tax efficient, okay, without breaking the law. Okay, so that's the whole point here. So next thing I want to talk about is basically technology, so which is another very important issue to small business owners. Okay, so some small business owners often ask me or other accountants, hey, to recommend the bookkeeping software. So there are lots of options. I list them there. And if you don't want to outsource your accounting to a CPA firm, and somehow you can go with one of them, and we are going to cover some of those options, as well as maybe some training in the future events. So once again, stay tuned. So beyond that, some small business owners wonder, hey, can we perform business analytics? It's something really big. if you think about it's more like a buzzword, right, to large enterprises. So what I want to say is, sure, business analytics does not just belong to large enterprises. There are some tools available. I list a few of them here, and also there are some open source or affordable software tools. For example, you may have heard of Google Analytics, which is free and and available to small business owners. And even you can use Microsoft Excel to do some basic business analytics. Some small business owners also asked me before that, do small businesses have anything to do with like big data, blockchain, artificial intelligence, right, and machine learning and whatever? My response is yes. In fact, some small business already started to embrace all these megatrends in accounting and finance. So I know that some small business use the big data analytics to better position themselves in the market. They do the marketing research, they look at social media data, they look at unstructured data to figure out the consumer behaviors and try to be more cost efficient as well. And the blockchain, you probably have heard of Bitcoin, right? Cryptocurrency, one of the types of cryptocurrencies. Do you know that some pizza restaurants actually take Bitcoins as payment? Okay, this is something really interesting. And you may have heard of a smart contract, which is a computer program or transaction protocol, which is intended to automatically execute, control, or document legally relevant events and actions according to the terms of a contract. So which is another example of a blockchain application. In my viewpoint, small business may particularly benefit from smart contracts because they save business owners time, money, and aggravation. So definitely AI and machine learning algorithm can support as business owners. And all these mega trends in accounting and finance can benefit a small business more or less. And we can definitely look into that in the future. So this slide, I don't plan to say very much because I think, we know that a small business financing and accounting go hand in hand. I feel a finance professional may be more appropriate to talk about this issue, and I'm not going to say very much here, but just tell you there are different ways how you get the financial resources, the resources, capital resources you can get to finance your business operations. So I would like to stop here, and I want to do the final polling question to get some ideas that what are the topics you guys are interested in and something that we should focus on. So I'm going to pull out the second polling question, and let me see. Okay, so here we go. So what topics would you like to know more about in future events? Check all that apply. Okay, so I'm gonna give you five more seconds. Then I'm gonna stop. All right, so I'm gonna share the results. So I think it's pretty much evenly distributed. So it sounds like we have to cover all these topics in the future, which is really great because I feel they are all important to small business management. So finally, I think I just want to end my presentation with Steve Jobs quote for all audience today. And I like especially the last sentence. The only way to do great work is to love what you do. So this is for accountants as well as for entrepreneurs. So once again, I want to thank everybody for being here today. And if you think there are other topics we should consider in the future, please let us know. All right, thank you. And I would like Sammy or Philip to take over.
All right, awesome. Oh yeah, by the way, I know we have about 86 people here. Philip and I really want to make a screenshot. We're really proud about what we're doing. it would be really great if smile. So if you got your camera out, you got your face shown, that'd be awesome. We would love that.
Yeah, if you want to turn your cameras on and smile, we'll count down and we'll take the screenshot. We'll wait a second for everybody to turn their cameras on. Okay. I think that looks like everybody. Okay, I'm gonna have to take 2 screenshots. You guys ready? 1, 2, 3, smile. Okay, I gotta do another one. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, smile. All right, that looks like everybody who has their cameras on. I'll send them to you, Diwoo.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, I think it's around my time to be able to just address the crowd, correct?
Yes.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
So yeah, essentially, this entire organization was just really important for us to be able to, bring awareness towards the unique issues that small businesses face when it comes to addressing their accounting practices. Their cash flows, preparing any financial statements to obtain a loan, anything like that. Yeah, so this is just a taste of all of a few of the events that we want to hold in the future, maybe in this semester or even next semester. Just bringing more attention towards all of the issues that small businesses face when it comes to their accounting practices, specifically because I know a lot of students, a lot of business professionals, really need a lot of help when it comes to getting their accounting books, in order. So, I wanted to give this, a little bit of time just to also ask for your guys' input into what exactly you might be interested in seeing in future events. So I had a few things in mind, like for example, um, hold on, like how to conduct payroll, how to respond to tax audits, preparing financial and accounting statements to apply for loans, how to differentiate your personal and business assets for accounting purposes. All these are like sort of like very general topics, so we thought it'd be really important if we have like specific seminars about those topics instead of just talking about them very generally in just one, in one seminar. So is there any other topics that you guys might, appreciate having in the future? Is there an accounting club? Yes, there is. There's the Institute for Managerial Accountants, who is here with us today. In addition, we also have the University of Accounting Associations. Yeah, I think the director is Harvey McCown. Yeah, awesome. So yeah, any other suggestions about, what we should cover in the future? Anything about like QuickBooks or anything like that? Legal documentation and legal process needed to begin running a small business operations. That's definitely really important. If you're a small business owner or you're thinking about becoming a small business owner, it's really important that you offer, documentation, just to keep everything in line. I know a lot of people might start off with a sole proprietorship and might want to move into a LLC, and that comes with its own issues. Yeah, so definitely if that's something you guys are interested in, we could definitely explore the topic. Yeah, Nick Hill, is there anything you want to mention?
Yes, I'd just like to say this has been very informative. And with all this accounting students and entrepreneur students here, there's one thing that I'd like to say, and that's also the city of Bakersfield. We're giving out grants, and during this time of the pandemic, a lot of different organizations are giving out grants, and they will continue to give out grants. And it's extremely important that you keep up your basic bookkeeping, because with Professor Woods, that's one of the things that we covered in February, and like they missed out on just two small little simple things. That was having your city business license, doing your basic accounting, and having your 2018 and 2019 taxes. $5,000 free money that people missed out on just for not having those small little things. So that's the only comment that I want to make. Thank you.
And I have a question too for you, Sammy. People that would want to join the club, your club, what would they do? Who would they email or contact?
I'm glad you asked. So they can email me or Dr. Jeremy Woods. So what I can do is I can just leave my email and phone number in the chat, and so could Dr. Woods. If you're interested in anything at all, if you're ever interested in creating your own small business, or if you're interested in getting a job through us, if you're interested in more networking events or having more input into these types of networking events in the future, you're more than welcome to contact me and Dr. Woods, and we can put you in the right place.
And that's
And that
going to
also
go.
brings up another question, Philip. How can they contact your organization so that they could join the IMA?
Well, I'm glad you asked. I'm going to put my email in the chat box too, and I will get a hold of Dr. Wu and see about that. So if you guys are interested in joining the IMA student chapter, you can email me. My email is in the chat box right now.
Could I jump in for I don't know, suggestion question?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
I was really interested in you mentioned QuickBooks and things along that line that we don't. I mean, I'm in an accounting class, but there's a lot of stuff that we don't cover, and I know QuickBooks is something that a lot of businesses use, and that I'd like to be familiar with if I was trying to go in for a job or something. And so it'd be really cool to cover something like that. In that's what clubs are for, is kind of enhance what we already get in the classroom setting, right?
Right.
So I'd be really interested in learning about about what's really relevant to the field and to accounting in general, and what businesses are actually using, and the need to know knowledge, stuff like that, and
Right.
really understanding those careers before we go in, so we know what we're talking about in job interviews and stuff like that.
Right. Well, to be honest, this is what I learned from the professional community here in CS in Bakersfield. I think that Excel actually is more important than QuickBooks. QuickBooks is just one of the bookkeeping software tools, but many actually CPA firms and local businesses told me that they really want students to have proficient Excel skills. So we can definitely cover some QuickBooks, whatever, in the future in our classes. I mean, I can encourage my colleagues and even myself to talk a little bit about QuickBooks. We can also have events, but I think the Excel skills could be something you might want to, look into and learn, before you even apply for internship. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's mostly what I was saying is that it's just hard to know what's relevant and what's not just from a classroom setting. So that's, really valuable. Obviously everyone uses Excel, so it's important to know.
Well,
but
yeah, good
yeah.
point. Lots of business actually, they understand, there are different tools, right? And also business go with the different tools as well. So there's no common ground. The only common ground is Excel, to be honest. So most of the businesses realize, hey, Excel is probably a better tool to assess student technology sufficiency, as well as quantitative analytics skills. Compared to other, Excel might be a better tool to do that. So I would probably look into Excel more and QuickBooks, and if you have to learn, and definitely learn QuickBooks. But there are some other available tools like Quadrix. I don't know if I've ever heard of that, but there's all kinds of tools you can go with. So QuickBooks is very popular for sure. Yeah.
Michelle, it's Professor Woods, just to jump in and enhance or expand somewhat on what Dr. Wu said. I totally agree with you. There is a huge demand for QuickBooks knowledge in particular. There's a lot of other are out there on the market, but predominantly the one used by most small businesses. And I've been meaning for some time to develop on the basics of how to use QuickBooks for my small business management class as a workshop we do for the small business or for the entrepreneurship club. So I don't have that available today, but I agree with Dr. Wu. Excel is universal, but in a small business environment, that is a very popular package. And sometime soon, I will come out with a workshop on how to navigate it.
We use QuickBooks, don't get me wrong, but we still have to have accountants. I put that in the notes, but we still have to have accountants for checks, balances, and audits as well. So don't discount yourself. We have to have accountants.
All right. Is there any other suggestions anyone might have about any upcoming events that we could have? Mason, is there anything you want to mention?
Sammy, I was just going to mention, and thank you for the presentation and for both, just a great presentation here for getting both of these clubs together. But one thing I was going to admit, I'm an enrolled agent. I got a few other titles here too, and a student here, senior here presently at Cal State Bakersfield. But as an entrepreneur, one of the benefits that I see bringing these two groups together like this, and it's so important, and we really didn't talk about this, is one of the big benefits for entrepreneurs that are out working as a W-2 employee right now, having a side business as even a sole proprietor, to be able to have a Schedule C to offset that W-2 earnings. And certainly, I personally have found this favor here with the most recent PPP, being able to get a $27,000 grant, tax-free, or excuse me, a non-repayable, grant here with that PPP money, which ends, by the way, this month for the first PPP round 1. If anybody was looking, if they haven't taken advantage of that, but just being able to show $1 earnings here on your Schedule C qualifies you for the PPP money. So I just see that as a great opportunity. I see a lot of people that are missing that in their taxes that are W-2 employees, and they're paying not having the ability to write off having their own business, and such a big part of that. So I just wanted to put that piece in there.
Teresa, I saw your comment in the chat. PPP stands for Payroll Protection Program. It's one of the major COVID pandemic related economic assistance packages from the federal government.
Mason, I agree with you. I just forget to echo you. Yeah, that's something actually. I'm not practicing right now, but many of my practitioner friends in the community in Bakersfield told me something similar. So very important. Thank you.
All right, great. Is there anything else you guys might have in mind that we should cover?
Sammy, whenever everybody else is done, I wanted to make a sort of final statement from our side of things, the Entrepreneurship Club side of things, on the overlap between these two areas. But I'll wait until everybody else is done.
Yeah, you know what? I think I'm sure a lot of you guys want to say something. Just write in the chat. Just type out what exactly you might think might be interesting to cover in the future. And in the meantime, I guess, Dr. Woods, you can make the announcement, the one that you want to make.
Yeah, I'll just end this by saying another example. Nick talked currently about, and so did Mason, about the incredible importance of having your books organized properly so that you can access federal grant programs during the pandemic. That is also the case after the pandemic. You always have to have your books together in order to be able to access various federal, state, and local assistance programs for your business. Let me also give you another morality tale and then end on a positive note. When I was running my I had a music licensing and event booking business back at another chapter of my life, and it was a very small business, and I was completely cavalier in how I managed the books and the accounting. In particular, I just assigned ballpark percentages to all of my various expenses as to what was business and what was personal, which was probably in the ballpark, but you can't do that with the IRS. Like you have to document, like what business expenses were legitimately related to, and you have to provide certain documentation. So I ended up bidding on it 1 year and paying more in taxes than I had planned on, just because I didn't maintain the books properly. I mean, the numbers that I stated for expenses were more or less correct, but I didn't maintain the proper documentation, so I had to pay a bunch more taxes than I thought. So that's yet another example, regardless of pandemic, of how important accountants are for small businesses. And let me end by saying, for all the accountants out there, you know, at the end of the day, entrepreneurs, and our club is, you know, focused on this mission. Entrepreneurs turn dreams into reality. So from your side of things, I talk about it being fun, but if I can really boil it down to the essence, like, we take dreams and ideas and we make them into reality. And as an accountant, you know, that you can be around that and be part of making that magic happen. I think that's the value of being involved with our, in addition to the fact that there's a lot of job opportunities, like you get to ride that wave. And I think for a lot of accountants, there's a lot of differences where you can do debits and credits. None of them are as middle as like turning dreams into reality. So that'd be my pitch for all of the accountants out there for joining our club. There's never, and we're constantly turning ideas into new businesses. Thanks, Sammy.
All right. Philip, I guess that makes our meeting technically over, correct?
Yes, sir. We are over time, and it was great that you guys all came, and I hope you guys come in the future.
Wait, forgot one thing though. Dr. Woods, are we supposed to have our jam session though?
We can do that. I'm all teed up and ready to go.
If you guys want to watch them play music, you can stay, but if you want to go, you can go. But